I'm here.
Mm. But no. Hey friends,
Hey y'all.
it's just Britt,
And it's T, aka the Shy Leo.
and we here with the interesting topic. This week's podcast, whichever week this is, once it get posted, of course.
Yeah,
Yes. So I love when T kicked it off, so I'm gonna let her do that because my brain is spaghetti.
terrible. Just terrible. All right, so this topic is going to be
What's the title? First, let's start with that too, because you're the.
um you know what? I didn't really think Hoe Phase transition to housewife. I don't know.
Now, I could maybe we could just do something simple, and just leave it whole phase. Cause
Yeah,
that
I think
draws enough to
I
right there.
mean, yeah, definitely. Because, you know, and then we'll get into this a little bit more because you know how they say you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. But what are we doing with these niggas? Because these niggas that are for
Right.
everybody, they're becoming husbands.
I
But
understand.
we'll just leave that out there for others. But yes, so the topic today is about hoe phases and should
Hold up now. Somebody must have been calling her.
much as we
Okay,
can
your
do.
service went out a little bit.
Crap.
Completely.
Oh, dang, bro. Okay. All right. So it's basically about hoe phases and should we be judged on them. And when I say we, I mean women, because men typically do not get judged on their hoe phases because there's that double standard in life that men can do this and women can't because
Exactly. And the theories behind those are
somebody,
so
right,
alien.
because somebody thought that women can't do what we do, and that's crazy.
Right.
Um, so yeah, um, I'm gonna say, of course, I'm gonna be on the side of the women. No, because what's a hoe phase?
Right. Well, I
Um,
mean, I'm not, what do you mean? What's the whole phase? We know what a whole
I
phase
mean, like, but really, like, what's a hoe phase? Because
Okay, I guess it's more so we're just exploring with our bodies and we have the freedom to do so, especially when you're
right,
single, whatever case. So it really shouldn't be like whole phrase. I know people
right,
use it like
you know what I mean?
playfully,
Because I mean,
but
because like a man can date and have sex and date, not commit to anyone, and again, like have sex with whomever he wants to.
he can even
So
brag about messing with hundreds of women and
I
still no one
know,
would look at him in any kind of way. Well, most
right?
people.
When women, if there is multiple guys, or even if there's just two, if you're just dating two men and you're choosing to have sex with both of those men, you're a hoe. That's just sounds absurd to
Right, right.
me because why can't you have your options and dibble and dabble in what you want, just until you get, what you want. I mean, men do it. Men sleep with multiple women and date multiple women until they find the woman that they want. Because as much as women like to think that we really have a choice, I mean, like we do have a choice, but as much as we think that when it comes down to a man who wants to marry us, it's really his choice. And we're kind of just like agreeing to it because the way that men think is like they're choosing to wife this woman. It's like not like a mutual agreement. It's like this is what I want. This is who I see myself with. This is who I'm going to marry. And women tend to mm, it's a little different. Like women aren't out here. They're looking for husbands, but they're not looking for husbands the way that men look for wives. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like women do marry men based off of love. Um, and there's a theory for men that women don't marry for love; they marry for security, for stability, for what he can provide. And they're saying that men marry women because they truly love them, which I can't seem to agree. But I do understand why they would think that, given that women do marry men for money. Women do marry men for stability because do you really want to marry someone who's unstable, who can't provide? Like, I
Right.
mean, no one's going to choose the latter. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, people
so
do. So that's put a disclaimer right there. So we're not saying for every single woman, because
yeah,
there's
this
some
is
people that have that thing where they like to argue about when you use every woman or everything. We're not grouping
hmm
every single person.
yeah,
There
we're
are
not
women out
grouping
here
everyone
that aren't
together.
looking for love necessarily. They're looking for stability only. There are women that looking for love. There are women that's looking because they don't want to be alone. There's so many different categories. So, but we're only referring to the ones that relevant to what we're saying right now.
Right.
Just want to say
Exactly.
that because
Yes, because everybody isn't. It's this is not grouping everyone, which again, that goes back to our topic about the hoe phase. Like, a woman who's dating two men is grouped into that phase. You know what I mean? And it's not like being a hoe. I mean, honestly, when I think about being a hoe, I honestly think that I almost think like hoism is like a profession.
mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you are a master at this. You're doing this, and you know what I mean. Like you got multiple men in virtue. I mean, honestly, I think it's just like a whole different thing, and I think a lot of times, like men categorize women who are secure in themselves and you know liberated sexually and um, physically, that they group them into being a hoe, and that's not even that. Men are intimidated with women by women who have masculine energy, and that I'm gonna say is grouped with majority all men. I can't even say that there's a man that's gonna say that he wants a woman with masculine energy. Like it's intimidating to them. So,
Again,
uh,
but I'm okay. Never mind. There are men that
I
are
mean,
like that, so just know that. There's some men that like to be dominated. There's some men that are
yeah, but
in.
that's not the same as masculine energy being
Actually,
dominated.
there's some men that like that though. There really are. I see it, and it's like a whole TikTok thing. But that's the point of this podcast. Just put it out there. There's always something. There's someone that likes something in this world.
But are
There.
you sure that it's masculine energy versus like
Yeah.
the dominant and
E-
submissive thing?
yes.
Oh, okay. Well, somebody can, you know, pull up facts on that as well
I
because
mean, yes,
I'm
because
not
again,
familiar to that.
it's not that hard to really.
Because when I say masculine energy, I'm not just talking about like, um, I mean, like it's so the definition of masculine energy for a man is a woman that is confident, that provides, that does all these other things, and it's not just sexual. So
Yes, there's men that like that, but would rather someone else take control and make all those decisions. They like to play the other
yeah,
more.
so I think that those are men that just trying to take advantage of that woman, though.
Eh,
But it
yeah, I don't know. I
either
guess that could
or,
be another
either way.
conversation.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
a
because there
man
are
can
women that are
sniff
like
out
feminine
somebody.
energy men as well, and they want to be the more masculine energy. So there's like dynamics like that as well. Like that's the thing with this world. There's so many different dynamics that's out there. So like what you wouldn't imagine it will literally be a joy for someone else. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm,
that's
very
there's
interesting.
things out there like that. But I didn't mean to cut you off. That just go ahead, continue.
Yeah. Okay, but you can chime in at any time with your whole face.
My whole face.
So,
Wait a minute.
not with your specific hoe phase.
Oh,
I mean,
oh, oh.
with your comment on the hoe phases. No, I don't think that you should be judged for it because I really don't know what a hoe phase is. I mean, I remember being young and having fun, and that's what it was. That's what it is.
Right,
It's
because like no one
nothing.
sat there. At least, well, again, I don't know if anyone say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to enter into my hoe phase. Like this is the official celebration of hoe phase. Like no one does that. They're just out there living their life, like you said, having fun, making decisions to be like, look, I want casual sex right now. If I want to do a one night stand, I'm doing one night stand. I'm talking to this guy here, just in the third. But more like when you can look back and make a joke about, like, yeah, man, I had a whole phase too. They wouldn't like no one literally sat there and planned it. I don't feel like a whole phase is planned.
Right.
If you
Yeah,
plan the
no,
whole phase,
nobody.
that's a little odd to me because then that's like who plans that kind of stuff? That's like the same people that plan sex. I don't know.
There are people that plan sex though.
There are. and those
Like
people
it's
are that
like
all that
scheduled
category.
days. Like some married couples have schedules. Like, okay, we're gonna have sex on Wednesdays and Saturdays because every other day of the week is really busy and we have to take care of it. Like it's
Yeah,
weird, but it does
it is.
become
It
a
is a
thing for
thing, and
some
those people
couples.
can all go in that category. So that's strange. So I mean, that's understandable for like the whole kid dynamic. I guess it just still seemed boring to me because it's not spontaneous and sexy. But yeah. So I personally, I'll say I had a time period in my life where I enjoyed uh making having control over my body and doing what I wanted to do with my body. I didn't look at it as being a hoe. Because it's not like I was out here, oh, I see this guy down the street, I'm gonna fuck him.
Right.
It's
That's
not
like not,
everything is so
yes, like
selective.
you said, that's not exactly what it is. It's definitely selective. It's
Yeah.
definitely like, yeah.
Just do what you want
Because
to do with your
I
body.
definitely pre-child, a little bit afterwards. No, definitely pre-child.
Mm.
I was young and having fun. I was under 21, like had my own place. I had a roommate, but like I was just having fun and enjoying myself. And nothing was like it wasn't like a different guy a day. It wasn't like a different guy a month. It was more like just spread throughout the time frame. Like I was just having fun. I was having fun with people, enjoying my time. I was going out on dates, and that's what it was. That's all it was. It wasn't like keeping a string of niggas in rotation. It was more like
Exactly.
I'm just going out doing me, and I wasn't looking for anybody. And if the opportunity presented itself for us to hang out, and everything flowed well and the night ended great, then that's how that was. It wasn't anything planned or like in my mind, oh, I gotta do this and get this out of my system, something like that. That was not like that at all. So I mean, just like men, they have fun and go out, they chill. Now I do believe it might not be for all men, but I do believe for some men, especially younger men, that they do have to get things out of their system. I think when a young man locks himself down really early in a relationship, that he tends to stray after a certain amount of time because he's used to that person and he doesn't know anything different. Same thing with young women who lock themselves down pretty early. Like it kind of happens. I mean, we've seen it happen with like our grandparents, like my grandparents. They married young and, you know, somebody strayed. They stayed in their relationship, but, they, strayed away a little bit. It
Mm-hmm.
happens. I mean, like, throwing religion and sex into the same category is kind of like, you know, unspoken of, but, when people who are pretty religious and they do get married early, I think that they have maybe like a greater chance of um, surviving that versus people who are not religious. And I'm not just speaking of Christianity, I'm talking about all religions across the board because marriage is across the board in any religion, like sacred. It's not just Christianity, it's all of them. So it's like they're the way that they think is a lot different. And on that aspect, Muslim men can have more than one wife. So it's still sacred, but like it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go and do all these different things. Whereas
Exactly.
people who don't have any type of like strong like foundations where it's like, oh, this is how it has to be because you know um we're dating or we're married, like, you know it just becomes a whole different thing. And I think that's why now so many people are becoming more comfortable with like the poly relationships and stuff because there's not a you can be free with the people that you're with. And I actually learned that there's different types of relationships outside of poly, where you can be in a relationship with someone and then you can like freely date and um and that works for them. It's not just like a an open marriage. Like it's kind of like that's your situation where you guys date outside of your um, relationship. It's kind of interesting. You know, it works for some.
Yeah, I did a whole like dive into that, and we could make that another topic as well. I did a whole lot of research on that stuff because I was even
Hmm.
like just wanted to see if it was something I could entertain or not. But I learned a lot. I learned more than what it, you know, what you assume it is, what you see on the internet if you wasn't knowledgeable about it.
Hmm.
But yeah, but to bring it back to the topic of should it be, should a woman be judged about it, in her relationship or whatever, I definitely feel like another thing is I don't know what the past has to do with your present. Unless
Hmm.
when you're referring to like talk about history as far as like sex health, like
Yeah,
STDs or anything
that
like
or
that,
if
of
it was
course.
or
Um,
people who you might have come in contact with who know the person that you're with now. That's the only thing that I think like
exactly, is
would be
relevant.
important is sexual health and possibly crossing paths with somebody that you've been intimate with before. That's kind of like important.
Right, like a little heads up in a
Yeah, because
sense.
if you
That's what.
smashed a homie and you didn't know that they were homies, that's different.
Right. But once you find
Um,
out, you definitely should be letting that
oh
be
yeah, you should
known.
definitely let that be known.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is why you don't mess with people in the same circles or in the same cities sometimes.
But I mean, it's hard, man, because there's some people that you wouldn't even think hang out together. It's like they're from two different types of worlds, and somehow they're connected. You have,
Yeah,
and that's a rare chance. That's not like a.
that's true.
But
Luckily
it
for me, I
happens.
have never had that issue. Literally, everybody
Me neither. But
has
I've
been
seen
from
this
a
shit happen.
different
So,
circle. I've seen it happen to other people,
yeah.
but I guess I've just been extremely lucky,
Hell
and I
yeah.
really have always dated. Um, I usually never dated anybody from the same county that I lived in,
And I think
and
that's what worked for us in life because we got lucky.
yeah.
Because if we literally stayed in the same areas and dated only in the same area, I'm sure that
Hmm.
situation would definitely have happened.
Yeah, and you know what? We honestly, I know people probably think that this is like not like foreseen, but we live in the DMV. Now, I know people from DC don't really consider that, but to be honest with you, living in this area, you get to date people from DC, Virginia, or Maryland. And
Hmm.
then Maryland, even though Baltimore is in Maryland, Baltimore is not.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have
I've
never
never
talked to
dated
anyone in
anybody.
Baltimore.
Actually, no, I did date. I went on a date a couple of times with a guy from Baltimore, but actually with two guys. So like it's interesting because literally I would have never come full circle with anybody that I actually dated because I've dated people from different areas.
And then Maryland
And
is so big, so we got PG, Montgomery County, you
yeah,
got Anne Arundel, you got all
exactly.
that,
You got
Clinton, Water. So
Wardle. I
I
was
mean,
like
I guess
Wardle.
yeah, Charlestown.
Wardle is just like off the grid, but it's
That's a whole nother world.
wonderful.
But I
Yeah,
love
just like
being.
Baltimore's a whole nother world. So
Yeah, it is. That's a really different world. I love me some Charles County people though. Just gonna throw that out there. They're different. They're like a perfect mixture of uh PG. I mean, I guess Maryland, DC. But
yeah,
anyway, that's a side note. Um, yeah, I think it's crazy, like how that worked out for us. But I would
yeah.
definitely been sick had I ever had to have that scenario. Cause
I
me,
know, right? I
I'm
couldn't
goofy.
imagine living somewhere where I could possibly like run into that situation where I'm dating someone currently who knows somebody. Now, I have dated people who knew people that I knew, but never crossed paths with somebody that we've encountered.
Yeah,
But
but
that was just it.
all right now. So, do you have anything else to touch on with this topic, or we could
Nope,
flow
I
to the
think.
next one? Oh, let us know in the comments below or any kind of feedback. What you guys think. Like, do you judge a person um on their past, or do you even ask about the past? Like, is it appropriate conversation for us? Like, Hoe
I
Phase,
don't
which I
want to
guess if
know.
you have one, if you consider that, if you know numbers and all that stuff like that, like let us know because I personally don't want
Yeah,
to know.
I personally don't want to know either,
Yeah.
unless again, like you said, if it's somebody that
Oh, her service went out again for 2 seconds. Oh, there's your service.
I was getting a phone call.
Yeah, it went out again. But I heard you say it's enough for you, dog.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. So we don't let this just, linger on. We're gonna go to the next topic. Stay tuned
All
and
right.
check out
Audi
both of our podcasts.
2000.
Girl, I was still in the middle, but it's cool.
Ooh,
But we got
sorry. Wait a minute.
I was telling them to check out our podcast. I was gonna leave the links in the comment
Oh
in the
yeah,
description
definitely,
box.
definitely.
Yeah,
With
so
you
you guys can
page.
actually connect with us on the Anchor app. So, all right, guys, you guys take care.
Bye.